All right. Hey, welcome everyone to our weekly Enter the Haven call. I'm Mac Agro, board president of FFL Haven. I'll be hosting today. And let me just jump out of the way and say you're in for an awesome call. We have a special guest speaker. But before that, we want to give kudos to the folks who make all this possible, right? They are here for themselves. They've suffered silently, and now they're being promoted and recognized publicly. So I'm going to do that. Some of us just saw what the numbers were, but hey, these people, I want you to know that I take my hats off to you because I know that this is not easy, but it's definitely worth it. So again, this is January, week 2 recognition. So first, I helped 19 families. Rose helped 8, Woody helped 6, Danny helped 6, Eric helped 2, Wendell helped 2 families, Lacey helped 2, Vernon, he helped 2, Dwayne, awesome job, helped 1, Ron, you helped 1, as well as Kamisha, and as well as Carrie. Everything counts, and this is the thing about this list. You just want to stay on it. Don't get off, okay? So again, kudos to everybody. I want to go ahead and literally jump out of the way for someone I always felt he was a myth, right? It's not possible. If you had to have a definition of what you would call a triple threat, this guy's definition, his picture would be on Webster. Here's a guy who he's an assassin in the home. He is a monster over the phone, and he is a guru in Zoom. He does all 3. And I want to give you that perspective. If you went to the NBA, MLB, whatever sport, but just for easy understanding, if you went to the NBA and all you could do was dribble, that's it. You had mad dribbles. They would pay you a lot of money. I mean, you would be a star. If all you could do was pass, they would pay you a lot of money. You were the assist master. That's all you could do. You couldn't make a basket. You could just pass. If all you could do was drive to the hole and maybe just shoot, they would pay you just doing one of those 3. If you could do 2, now you are a star, like a superstar. If you could do 3, you are like the GOAT, they'll call you, like off the chains, another level. Here's a guy that's in that level. And again, this is not in any adulation. This is just the fact. So let me jump him on the line. All right, bear with me here. There it is. All right, let's get him on the hot seat. So it's my pleasure to actually introduce you to someone I call my friend, Mr. Matt Goodrich, president of FFL Edge. And again, he's with us. I want to give you, again, thanks. I know that you have a kid that's sick, but you still showed up, which is the #1 rule of success. So thank you, Matt. Appreciate you being here with us. I'm going to just take the gloves off, and I want to just, the elephant in the room, everyone's wondering, did you really help 90 families in 1 month? Like, for real?
Yeah, man. So, and if I'm being honest with you, this month, I think is going to be my biggest month I've ever had in the insurance industry.
Wow. Hey, tell us, please. Everyone's dying. Like, this is like, for real. What is the biggest number of families you've ever helped in 1 month in FFL?
It was 90, I think it ended up at 92 last December, when everyone takes their time off and they rest and relax. That's the best time to go to work, man.
I love it. So Matt, I'm going to go from the beginning, and then we got new agents here. And as you guys have questions, throw it down in the comments, because this is an open book. It's not often you get this kind of understanding and this kind of opportunity to dig and just pick the brain of someone that's been in the industry this long. So Matt, first question, I know you've been in the industry. How many years have you been in the industry?
Well, first, let me just say this, man. I really appreciate you having me on the call. After that introduction, dude, I hope I perform. you kind of threw a lot of pressure on me there. I was like, what is happening here? So that's one of the nicest compliments I've gotten. It's coming from you. I really appreciate it. So
the truth.
Dude, I've been in this. I've been in this industry. I'm not gonna. So to tell you the truth, my dad sold life insurance. Okay, so. And I got into it originally when I was 18 years old. Some people wanted to go to college and do that. I never had any intention of going to school. So I had every intention to get my insurance license. And I started selling it, and I hated it with a passion. And when I say hated it, I mean hated it. But I used to wear a suit and tie and all that kind of nonsense. Mm-hmm. So I got out of it, and did what normal 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds do for a while. Then somehow I got back into the insurance industry after corporate America was doing all their nonsense, because I was working for a company called Cisco Foods. And they started laying people off and doing all that kind of stuff. And I didn't want to be that person who was 55 years old and laid off. And so I was 27 years old at the time. I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get my insurance license again, because I don't know of any other industry where I can do what I want to do when I want to do it without having to ask permission.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's a double-edged sword. But so I got back in the industry. It's been 10 years now, 12 years. And I started on a part-time basis, replaced my full-time income on a part-time basis at Cisco. Once I did that, then I went full-time. And I can honestly say I've been successfully selling insurance in this industry for the last 10 years, full-time.
Awesome. Now you've had a journey. This is a guy that's been in it for a while. You end up here at FFL. Now, some of these new people, some of them maybe been here for a little bit. They were born in a Ferrari. They were born in a Lambo. They don't even know it. Tell us, I'm going from where you were, because it wasn't easy back then either. Why FFL?
Well, okay, so FFL was, how can I explain this, man? Like, it's like those Facebook memes that you're looking at someone, like you're walking with somebody, but you're always checking behind you to see what the next thing is.
Right.
And I always knew I was with the practice company at a much lower compensation level. Okay. And I was doing the same work, which is just dumb, because if you think about it, it'd be the same concept of if the company, my old corporate 500 company, was doing the exact same thing as another company, and the rival company came up to me and go, hey, listen, we'll pay you $100,000 more to come work for us. If I wouldn't have taken that opportunity, all my friends and family would have laughed at me. Right.
Silly.
But somehow in this insurance industry, people get so loyal to one company because they tell you they love you or all this other kind of nonsense, when in reality, they're taking money from your family.
Right.
So I was with this previous company. I was pretty successful over there. I had an agency, all this kind of things. I left them in 2020, right? Like 2019, 2020. I think actually my resignation date was January 1, 2020. And then it took me about 6 months. And then I joined Family First Life, and it got started about August. So I've been here just over 2 years. And man, the training here was just another world compared to any other insurance industry. And the reason why is because
I was going to ask that. Why?
The reason why is because the people that are training you are actually still selling life insurance. Whereas in most of these other companies, the people that are training are not selling anymore. They're just strictly recruiting. And if they haven't sold in 5 years or 10 years, with all due respect, why would I listen to you? Right? Because you don't know what the new world is like. You don't know how to sell over Zoom. Obviously, if you haven't sold through 2020, you don't know how to sell over Zoom. I'm sorry, but you don't. If you haven't sold over the phone, they only did in-person sales, and they only did like one type of lead, right? And so like the world has changed. And so if you haven't changed with it, why would I take your advice? In Family First Life, man, the YouTube videos, all the trainings, I used to watch them constantly. And then the commission changed for doing the same amount of work. It just, at some point, dude, it just made absolutely no sense why I wasn't bettering my family in my situation.
Who recruited you?
Why
did you come over? Like, was it you've heard it a while and people kept kind of just dripping on you? I mean, because some of those people who are top producers like you, how will you recruit a Matt Goodrich?
Well, it took 4 years.
Wow.
So it wasn't like, because I knew I needed to leave a while ago. I just chose not to, because I was scared, right? I was afraid of losing what I'd already built. And that's the peer pressure that they put on you. You don't want to lose what you've already built. When in reality, dude, it wasn't that much to begin with. Like, I replaced it within 6 months, right? So it really wasn't anything. Like, this is a whole nother kind of animal over here at Family First Life. It just is. And I don't care what anybody tells you. Like, and here's what they always tell you. They say, well, you can't build here. You can't, it's only for producers. Well, newsflash, man. If you want to have a successful team, don't you want a team of high producers?
Right.
Like, where else? Here's a good tip. If you really want to become successful, you have to associate with the people that are most successful. Everyone can agree with that. Everybody knows that. Everyone's heard that quote a gazillion times. You associate with your, like, if you want to know what your income is, take your 6 closest friends, your income is going to be an average of all their incomes combined. That's going to be your income. And that's true. And whoever's on this call, you can go ask your friends if they'll tell you for real what their actual income is. See, because what I've noticed about friends is they'll lie to you about their money and their finances. Strangers like Mac, he'll tell you he don't care.
Come on.
He'll tell you, right? Like I'll tell you, I have no vested interest.
100%.
Right? So why wouldn't I associate? So I was associating with people that were at the same level.
Got it.
And that doesn't work. So if you want to be a top producer, you need to go where the top producers go. And the only place for that is Family First Life, because they've got more top producers that I know of. I can't say per hand, but that I know of. They're most top producers in any IMO in the country is at Family First Life.
I love it. Now, if you're hearing this, here's one thing that I want you to distinguish. When you're new, you're looking for how-tos because you want to get to where Matt is. But you'll notice when you're talking to top producers like Matt, he focuses so much and you're hearing it just because it's automatic for him. How to think. These are the concepts that I use to be able to execute, right? And he's doing that not because, he's a guru, he just become the kind of person. So there's a common denominator. If you're brand new and you're watching this, you're saying, dude, I've been listening to this from the first, 5 minutes. He ain't said nothing about how to do it. That's on purpose because It's not about the how-tos. So Matt, if you can maybe scratch that itch a little bit for those who are new, they're saying this guy, he wrote how much? 95 families?
Yep.
Break down, if you could, how you started. So when you got in this game, you replaced what you built for years in 6 months. How did you go about doing that? And then answer, in today's world, what would an agent today do to go Hall of Fame today, help 400 families a year?
Okay, so here's what I would say. There's 3 things you need to master in this insurance industry. If you can master these 3 things, no one can stop you. The only thing that'll stop you is you not practicing. Okay. Number 1, you have to master your lead flow. You have to know how many leads per week you need to execute X amount of production. Okay. Very simple. If you want to help 10 families in a week, you need to know how many leads that requires in order for you to help 10 families in a week. It's Matt, simple math.
Can I interrupt? Does that differ per person?
It does. So I'm a veteran. So like you cannot equate my phone script to your phone script. I've been doing this for 10 years on the phone every single week. So I've got, I don't even know how many hours of practice I have in. And sometimes I still bomb on the phone. Like Mac will tell you, he's seen me do it. So it's just a matter of time. Like you can't say anything to me on the phone that I will get confused by, or I'll get caught up by. Because I don't really listen to you on the phone, right? But that's just years and years of practice. So your numbers are going to be different than my numbers, right? So, but here's what I love about sales. Once we know your numbers, you can't beat the numbers and the numbers can't beat you.
Love it.
It's a game. It's just a game. So if you can go, hey, listen, so if I first start, what I would do is I would overdo my activity. So I would assume I need more leads to get the same amount of appointments. And you just kind of play the math out. So let's say if you're calling internet leads, that you're only going to book 10%. And let's say if you're calling Facebook final expense leads, you're going to book 20%. And let's say you're calling mortgage leads, that's going to be, you should be booking 50%. So
I want you to hear these numbers, y'all. Hear these numbers. This is from years of research experience. It'll tell you upfront, if you got 100 leads, how many are you booking? 10 of them.
10.
Come on. You already know. Thank you, Matt. Keep going.
And play the worst case scenario. Don't play the best case scenario in your head, because you're going to be disappointed with yourself. Right? So assume you need more to accomplish the same thing. And if you do that, those leads don't go bad. They just carry over to next week.
Yep.
So you just have more activity you can do next week. So, but here's how broken down you can make this if you really want to. You can go, I need X amount of leads. X amount of leads will equal X amount of contacts. X amount of contacts will equal X amount of phone calls. And then you should know by week 13, because it will take you 3 months to figure this out, if I'm being honest with you. You will know by week 13 the amount of phone calls you need to make a week, the amount of appointments you need to run a week, the amount of contacts you're going to get to book those appointments, and the amount of production you'll sell on a consistent basis. But you won't know those in the beginning, and you're going to be terrible. So, and you also need to be okay with being terrible, because if it's a new career path, you're not supposed to be good. If you were actually good in the beginning, you would be an anomaly. And if I'm being honest with you, I'd be scared of you, because that means you're going to shoot off like a rocket ship. And the minute you hit a boulder or an iceberg, then you might sink.
Right.
And that's what I'd be most concerned about.
I love it. So lead flow. And did you have a number 2, number 3?
Number 2 is phone script. It doesn't matter if you have leads if you can't book an appointment. Right? So you have to master a phone script. Now, here's what everyone will tell me. They go, well, what's your phone script? My phone script is probably almost similar to Mac's phone script. Mac's phone script is probably similar almost to Jacob Medford's phone script. Jacob Medford's phone script similar to whoever's, Matt Smith's phone script. I don't know. The key to this is you have to pick a phone script that you like. Now, also the key though is you have to be able to master that phone script. And here's what I mean by master. And I'll give you a great example of this. So when I used to door knock for a living. Look, I've been in sales since I've never done anything else but sales. Okay. And I have pretty much sold everything. The only thing I've never sold is cars for some reason. I didn't like the hours. So, but I've literally sold everything: door-to-door sales, vacuum sales, water sales, phone sales, legit, all of it. So the best advice I got when I was selling water door-to-door out here in Las Vegas, 105 degrees, was this. The guy says, we're riding along. I have to make money quickly. Some of you might need to make money quickly. So I needed to make money ASAP or I was not going to be able to pay my rent that month. So here's what he said to do. He goes, write this down. And he gave me his phone script, his script, verbatim, line by line. I wrote down every single word he said. Was it my personality? No. Did that matter? No, because it worked. Okay. So, however, here's what happened. I wrote it down verbatim, line by line. He then said, go home, repeat this to yourself 10 times in the mirror. Why? If you're going to be confronted by somebody, you might as well be confronted by yourself. So I read it off 10 times in the mirror, and then I memorized it line by line by line by line. That day, I memorized it. The next day, I was knocking on doors, spitting out the script. And I kept practicing and practicing and practicing because I needed to make money fast. Some of you, if you don't need to make money fast, don't memorize a script. You do what you want to do. If you want to be an average player, more power to you,
Preach.
Right? So, but if you want to be great at this, get the phone script, write it out, don't print. That's one of the things that drives me nuts about all this technology, man. Like, how about you write it out on a piece of paper? How about you write it down? Because then all of a sudden you internalize it in your mind. And then all of a sudden you're going, oh man, that is it. That is it. And it might not be your voice yet, but if you say it 10 times in the mirror, guess what? It becomes a part of you. And then you make it your phone script because it doesn't sound awkward. And if you can master that, then you'd be so far. Look, man, 90% of the agents who get involved in insurance, they suck at this business. Let's just be honest about it. Y'all are going to run into these crazy people who do not know how to help anybody. If you start practicing your phone script and practicing and practicing and practicing, you'll know what to say and you'll automatically be 90% better than everybody else.
And Matt, let me pause you for a second before you go to 3. You've been in this game for a while. Yes, you kind of learn your craft over time, but you got agents who the runway is very short. Now, you've knocked doors, you've been married. When you were in a situation being in sales, when you had to make action happen, that pressure on your back, how did you handle not having commission breath, yet you still have to reinvent yourself and still go actually make action happen at the same time?
Yep. So the best way to do that is to overdo it. And what I mean by that is this. Don't walk away with 2 appointments. Don't walk away with 3 appointments. Don't walk away with 4 appointments. You sit your butt down and you make phone calls until you've got 20 appointments. Because if you've got 20 or you've got 30, you ain't worried about commission break. You ain't worried about hearing no. You ain't worried about any of that kind of stuff because you have set yourself up properly for success. Now, if you book 5 appointments and you're like, oh man, that was a great day. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm going to get up and leave. And it's 1:00 in the afternoon. You are setting yourself up for failure because you're settling because you think you're going to write business. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to get stood up.
Yep.
Someone's going to slam the phone in your face and they're going to feel the fact that you have 1 more appointment left. And if you don't make this sale, then I can't pay my rent and they're going to know it. And you're not going to do right by that client. So don't put yourself in that situation. Set yourself up for success in the beginning, and the money will follow you. But if you don't do that, the money will not follow you. It will run from you.
I love it. I love it. That's worth the price of admission right there. Jump into number 3, Matt.
Presentation. This all goes together, y'all. Okay. You can't do a phone script without leads, right? And you can't book an appointment without a phone script. And you can't make a sale without a great presentation. Okay. It'd be the same concept as if I hired you and you were my employee and we were doing a Broadway show and you showed up to do that show and you didn't practice your presentation.
Right.
You didn't practice your dance moves. You didn't practice your lines. You didn't practice your skit. I would fire you. And if you hired somebody and they didn't show up to practice, you would also fire them. Right.
Yep.
So now here's the thing. You have plenty of time to practice in the day. The key is, will you? Because you have plenty of time to practice your phone script. You have plenty of time to practice your presentation. You have chosen not to do so. So because these phone devices, here's how I know people have time. All you gotta do is go on your phone and look at the amount of hours you spend on your phone. And that won't lie to you. That won't lie to you. Take a screenshot, send it to Mac. It'll say, like, I bet you it'll say 5, 6, 7 hours. How much you want to bet, right? That's per day. That means if you multiply that by 7, that's 35 hours a week you're spending looking on Facebook. It'll tell you how much time you're spending on Facebook, social media, Google, all that kind of nonsense, y'all. So you can't make an excuse. Go to bed later, get up earlier, whatever it takes. But here's the key. Pick a presentation you like. So go on YouTube, pick a presentation that you feel is your best personality. Watch that. It's the same concept. You watch it, you pause it, you write it out. Watch it, pause it, write it out. Watch it, pause it, write it out. Get the phrases down. Get the personality down. Get their attitude down. Get the assumption down. Like, it's amazing what you can learn. And never stop learning. I watch Max stuff. I watch Steve Giordano stuff. I watch Stephen Yee stuff. I watch everybody's stuff because I want to know how I can always get a little bit better, right? Because I always think I can. And that's one of the keys for a top performer. You always think you can get a little bit better, and you always feel like you're behind. Like a top performer always feels like they're failing. They never feel like they're getting there quick enough. They always feel like they could be doing better. That's just normal for a high achiever. So you need to become that person.
You hear how intense Matt is. It's like relaxed intensity. Now, Matt, what I've noticed about top producers is they're intense because they know it's just a math equation. Some people got it from athletics, but at the end of the day, here's the common denominator that I really appreciate about you. We know that this is not a game. Like, this is real life, and you only got one chance. Now, what is it? I mean, did you have any background? Was it athletics? Like, what is it that you can turn to in the past that maybe gave you that edge, that fight spirit that, I got to get this done? Because not everyone has that. Some people, maybe they work part-time and I'm tired, or maybe they were trying to do this full-time, but they're not putting the intensity in it. What's the difference?
And I don't know. That's a great question because, and I don't think I've ever been asked that. So of all these years, I don't think I've ever been asked that. So I am a competitor. So I did do wrestling, right? And wrestling was you perform now or you don't perform at all kind of a sport. And it's very much an individual sport backed by a team sport. So your team wins, but they only win because the individual won, right? So, and then I did golf. That's also individual. And baseball, that's kind of an individual sport too, because everyone has to perform their own position in order to do it. Like, you're at the batter's box by yourself. But what I think what really did it was, I didn't come into this. See, I was always taught. So I was always taught when I was growing up, right? I wanted to do something for myself, but I would never leave my job until I had another job, right? So I would sacrifice time in order to make something else happen. And I think that's one of the benefits that I've always had, was I've always been able to sacrifice time. I've always been willing to sacrifice time. I've sometimes too much. Okay. So I've always been willing to sacrifice to get something else that I wanted. Okay. So you have to be willing to sacrifice something, but you can't, it's got to be something that you want. So, and what I mean by that is, you can't sacrifice something small that you're willing to sacrifice anyway. You've got to give up something that will hurt you, so you get it done fast, because all of us are procrastinators. So if it doesn't hurt, you won't move. So it has to hurt, right? So one of the things now, the reason why, so Mac and I talk a lot because we're both really trying to build a business now. And I've really honed in on interviews and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, really honed in on it. But I think the reason why I've really ramped up the pressure on myself on that is because my boys are now 7 and 4 and they want to do sports. And so now I'm thinking, am I going to coach? Am I not going to coach? Am I going to have the money? Am I not going to have the money? They want to go ski trips. They want to do all these things. And I ain't got time, man. I ain't got time anymore. So I either sacrifice my time now, or I'm going to sacrifice not going to their games.
Yep.
It's one or the other, and that hurts. And now that it's so close, mentally I can see it. So you guys need to pick something that is not in the future, because that doesn't drive you so much. You have to pick something that will hurt you now. That, man, if I don't get this done, then I'm going to miss out on this. And you need to repeat that to yourself. So let's say, for example, man, if I don't make this phone call, my mom is going to have to go into a home hospice care. If I don't make this phone call, I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage next month. If I don't make this phone call, my kid can't go to private school. I don't know what y'all want in your life. I have a certain expectation for my life now. And as you upgrade your life, you will have more expectations. But the only way you'll get more expectations is if you surround yourself with people who already have those expectations. So that's kind of like, if you want your kid to go to private school, hang around some people who send their kids to private school.
Man, I love what you're saying. And guys, you're here. You may not recognize it, but you're responding internally in 2 ways. Some of you are like, others, and again, I don't know who it is. Here's what's true. I was talking to an agent a couple of days ago, and here's what I noticed. I remember this. The Rock, he said, how are you going to work 40 hours a week for someone else, right? And then you come home and you barely give yourself any effort. No, he says, you're not tired. You're just uninspired. That's what it comes down to. Period.
You're bored.
You will here's the truth. You get this day of decision. You're ready to hit it. You spend thousands of dollars paying the Tony Robbins, the gurus. You know what they're going to do for you? They're just going to help you clarify your vision. Because here's the truth. If the vision is clear, the price is easy. So their job is, they're good at asking questions to help you get the bugs off the windshield so you can see exactly what it is you want. And when you can see it, oh man, it is game over. So here's what I'm telling you. If you're hearing what Matt's saying, he is speaking, if there was a price of admission for this event, it will be $100, $200, $300, $400, $5,000. He's speaking at a higher level of what you need, how he accomplished this. So understand that as you're going through. And again, this may be a time when you'll look back and you'll understand as you watch this again, what exactly was happening in my mind, because this might be one of those where it's ready for you in the future. Matt, let me jump in. Go ahead. If you can do this.
Well, hey, Matt, can I say something off that real quick?
Absolutely.
So, because what you say is very true. Because here's the deal. I'm not here to talk to all you. I could care less. I'm here to talk to the one person that needs to hear this.
Yes, sir.
And that's it. I don't care if it's just one person. So, but here's what I can tell you about vision, how much it comes true. Okay, because my wife and I have been struggling with our current vision, because here's how real our vision we have now came into effect. So about 5 years ago, we wanted a home on a cul-de-sac. Okay, we wanted a ranch. We wanted a pool in the backyard that we could design. We wanted those things. We wanted our kids to go to private school. We wanted those things. So I said that, and I pictured this is going to sound crazy. I used to picture my wife in a bikini by the pool. Okay. Every man, you know what I'm talking about. Every man, you know what I'm talking about. Leave me alone. All right. Leave me alone. Okay. Leave me alone. I love my wife. Okay. So that was my vision. And it was so ingrained in my head, right? I could tell you where the sun was. I could tell you where she was sitting. I could tell you the friends that were there. In my head, that was ingrained for 5 years. That was in my head. Stephanie and I used to talk about having a house on a cul-de-sac where kids would ride bikes in. We could sit on the driveway and watch them ride bikes. Okay. That was the vision we had. Today, we have a house with a ranch in a cul-de-sac with a casita where my office is, a pool that got finished in June where my wife sits with her friends on the step where the bikini is. You see what I'm saying?
Love it.
And both our kids go to private school. Now, the reason that I got a little bit lackadaisical was because I accomplished a vision I had 5 years ago. Well, when I accomplished that vision, my brain shut down. Why? I didn't have the next vision. So now Steph and I have gone back to the drawing board. And now we're going, what do we want the next 5 years? Because I need to start seeing it in my head. Is it traveling? Is it coaching kids baseball? Is it a second home? Is it cars? Is it watches? Is it retirement? Is it whatever it might be? Is it a large team? Is it whatever it could be? We are writing things down and starting to clarify. I'm not one of those guys that goes, it is December 20th. I need to write down all my goals for January 1. Why? Because my mode is not going to stop one way or another. I'm not a bottle rocket, man. I'm not going to shoot off on January 1 and then die on January 14th. That's not going to happen. Right? So, because it's a 5-year vision. So now we're going back to, what do we want to accomplish this year? And now what's fun is we're going back to going, hey, where do you want to go? What trip do you want to take? And now that vision is now getting in my head with our family. Once that happens for you, you will naturally move towards that direction. Okay? Naturally. By the way, y'all, I've read so many books and watched so many seminars, and all they're going to teach you is what I'm telling you right now, just so you all know. Okay? So if you can get that vision locked in your head and think about it all the time, your mind, Napoleon Hill calls it the ether, you will put that out into the ether. Eventually, the ether, your body will direct you toward that. And your actions will reflect towards everything you vision and will happen for you.
Like a magnet, right?
It's unbelievable. So if you're thinking of negative things, if you're thinking of this person's going to say no, if you're thinking of I'm scared to talk to this person, if you're thinking of I don't think they're going to buy from me, I think they're too old, I think they're too sick, I think this, I don't think this phone is too heavy, you're attracting what you're going to get.
I love it.
So just remember that.
Matt, let me kind of help out as well. If I can, I'm a guy that I love to kind of put boxes in things I've learned. In order to get to the mentality that Matt is talking about, you have to first create momentum, right? You got to decide, how much will it cost? In emotions, first, in just the basic numbers, how many leads do you need to help 10 families a week? And he said it himself, overcompensate, right? That it'll take you more than you think as it will. And then ask yourself, can I do this? Not can I, will you do it? Well, what will give you the strength to do it? Your why. And if you don't feel, I don't know if I can do it, all that means is it isn't so much that you don't want it. Your why is not clear enough so that you can have the strength to go after it. Because the human mind, it will never go after a journey or start a journey it doesn't think it can finish. Period.
Good stuff.
Right?
Good stuff.
But when you know, hey, I'm willing to do it, this is what it takes. And Matt's saying, hey, when you think negative, oh, this person will say no. You know what I was thinking when I was doing this? I said to myself, it'll take me 500, 1,000 dials. I was willing to do the 500,000 dials. I was just looking for the 1 or 2 or 3 people that are going to say yes. So I didn't care whether the person was going to say no.
The laydowns,
I'm just looking for the ones because I was willing to do what it took. But if you're not willing to do what it takes, that's when you start getting scarcity mentality and saying, oh, well, this person's going to say no. You start wincing at the phone calls picking up. But when you're willing to do what it takes, and I love this, and I'll just let you continue, Matt. I love Frank Efemia said this once. He says, it takes what it takes. And for some of you, FFL is just a small vehicle. Hey, maybe that's the case, but I'm telling you, this is one reason I'm so glad that some of you have made the decision to come to conference. When you realize this is a tiger by the tail, this can give you everything you want. When you realize that, you will take all the things off the table and prioritize, because this will it's like a machine. You're building the parts so that it can spit off cash flow to you, which will pay for your dreams. That's the beautiful thing of it. So thank you, Matt, for that. Let me transition to the nitty gritty.
Okay.
What does the structure of a 40 family a month producer look like?
Okay. So in person, over the phone.
Let's go in person first and then do over the phone. Okay.
So in person, to do 40 families a month, you're going to have 2 dial days per week minimum. And you're going to have 4 run days per week. So at Family First Life, it's very simple. We dial on Monday, You dial until you're booked for 15 appointments on Tuesday and Wednesday. You dial on Thursdays until you're booked for Friday and Saturday for 15 appointments. The rule of thumb is you book 30 to sit 20 to sell 10. That's the rule of thumb. You could be terrible and walk yourself into 10 families in that week. True. Right? That's the rule of thumb. Now, if you've never done 40, if you've never done 20, if you've never done 10, you got to work it backwards and just think of it as 1 week at a time, because it can seem overwhelming. So if you can just put the work in for that day and accomplish that day, then you can get up and accomplish the next day. So just remember, so like if it's going to take you, if you start at 7 a.m. and it takes you all day to book 15, it would be, I don't know how much I can say, because it would be like if corporate America came up to you and go, hey, look, man, we'll pay you $500,000 a year, but you have to work X amount of hours. You would put in those hours. No, because corporate America is telling you to, right? The problem is that we don't do the same thing for ourselves. So you need to treat yourself like an employee. So if I was to say, if I was your boss, hey, you need to be on the phone by 7 a.m. on Monday morning, guess what?
You'd be there.
You're going to be on the phone by 7 a.m. Monday morning. Otherwise, you'd be fired. Treat yourself like that. So the structure is 7 a.m., making phone calls until you're done. When is that? 15 appointments. I don't know when that is. It's until you're done. It could be noon. It could be 9 o'clock at night. That's the way it works. That's the structure of, and listen, y'all, there's no secrets here. Okay. The person that's selling 100 families a month versus the person that's selling 40 versus the person that's selling 20 is lead flow. That's the only difference. They run more appointments than you do.
I love it. Telesales, virtual. What's that look like?
That's a little bit different. That's a different animal, because I make phone calls every day. Okay. So that's a different animal. So like you can book, listen, so here's how this works. So if I'm calling Mac, I'm going, hey, by the way, here's a real-time lead script for you all. Okay. So if I'm calling Mac and I go, hey, Mac, this is Matt. I'm calling you because I'm the state underwriter here in Las Vegas, and you had filled out a form online looking for the state regulated life insurance programs, and you put your date of birth was 1/1/1976. It's my job to go over the information with you and get you that quote. You got 10 or 15 minutes. We can just knock this out right now.
Yeah.
And they'll say yes, or they'll say no. If they say yes, I'm doing the appointment, right? If they say no, I'm booking an appointment for that night or the very next day. I'm not waiting 48 hours. With telesales, you can't do 48 hours. You have to do within the next 24 hours.
What if they say, hey, I can't busy. I'm busy. I'm going to fix my porch door. It'll take me a week. Talk to me in a week.
Yeah. Hey, Mac, no problem, man. I get it. We're all pretty busy, dude. What time are you typically done building your porch door?
It's a long project, so I don't know.
No, what time during the day?
Probably, I don't know. I go to dinner about maybe 5.
Okay, then you just kind of quit after that, right? Because you're pretty stuffed.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, I totally get it, man. So the good news is that because I'm a state underwriter here and most of my clients work during the day, they actually make us work at night. It's just something my boss makes me do. So listen, I could squeeze you in about 7 or 7:30 tomorrow night. Which one would you prefer?
I guess I could do 7:30.
Okay, now listen, Mac, is that going to be a for sure thing? Because I've got 10 families I need to see tomorrow. So is 7:30 going to be perfect for you, or do you want to move it to be a little bit later?
How long is it gonna take?
About 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess we could do that.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, man, is I'm going to send you a text message with a copy of my license and my state driver's license. That way you can verify them with the state. I'm also going to shoot you a couple reminder texts. That way you'll remember, and that way you'll be there, okay?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right. Hey, real quick, what's your email address?
boomboomboom.com.
Hey, real quick, just want to make sure, are we getting the insurance for you, or is there a spouse that needs to be involved as well?
Yeah, just for me.
Just for you. Okay. And then is your beneficiary going to be your spouse, your kids, your loved one? Who's it going to be?
My wife.
Your wife. Okay. Can you please make sure she's there? Because I want to make sure she understands exactly what you're doing for her. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
And what's your wife's name real quick?
Stacy.
Stacy. Okay. All right. So make sure that, so Mac, I got you and Stacy down for tomorrow night at 7:30 to make sure she gets protected in case something happens to you, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'll talk to you then.
Boom. Love it.
And that's it. Now, the reason I asked, okay, so it's kind of like, I don't remember the name of that guy who, like that detective dude who'd be like, oh, and one more thing. Oh, and one more thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing. The reason I'm doing oh, and one more thing is because you remember me. So the more, so like, it's not, see, it was a quick set. Now it's not. right?
Mm.
So because I quick set you, but then I went, hey, what Columbo? Thank you, Nathan. I went,
Columbo, thank
oh,
you.
one more thing. Oh, this. Oh, by the way, what's the name of your wife? Oh, is she your beneficiary? Oh, okay. What about this? So you just keep you. The goal is to see how long you can keep them on the phone before they get irritated with you.
That's so good. You turned a quick set into a lockdown, tie down appointment.
That's
That's
how you
good.
do it, man. If it's a quick set, don't even count on it.
That's good, especially for telesales, right? Just don't.
Especially for telesales.
And so just to confirm, how many appointments do you have to book for telesales in order to do help 40 families a month?
Well, dude, my numbers have been the same for in-person as in telesales. So
okay.
Yeah. But you see how I lock down people. So I do that with everybody, right? And then I put them in Calendly and I send them reminders and I shoot them text messages and then I communicate with them. And I just flat out. So if I'm setting you and I go, hey Mac, here's the deal, man. So we can either do this over Zoom or over the phone. Which one would you prefer? And they'll say whatever they say. And I go, great. Hey, listen. So here's the process. So tomorrow I'm going to ask you some health questions, some financial questions, and then I'm going to go over all your options for you. If at the end, we're going to find an option that's affordable that you can qualify for. And if you feel comfortable with that, then I'm going to be the guy to help you get qualified. Okay. And if not, you could tell me to kick rocks. Does that sound fair enough to you?
You actually say that.
Yeah.
Love it.
The
takeaway.
Yeah, I literally have put no pressure on you at all. Look, I'm going to show you the prices. If you think it's affordable and you want to do it, I'm going to help you. If you don't and you're Matt, I don't want to do it, you can tell me to kick rocks, man. I'm not going to be offended. Does that sound fair enough to you?
That sounds fair.
Dude, you'd be amazed at how well that works.
I felt good just you saying it. It just kind of,
it relaxes you. And the people go, and then when I'm talking to them, I go, just tell me yes or no. It's fine, man. I am not going to be offended. Just tell me yes. Because wouldn't you rather have a yes or a no instead of I need to think about it?
Right.
So, because if and I think about it, it feels like it's not closed. Like it's like you don't have closure.
Right.
If you tell me no and you slam the door in my face, I'm like F you, man. So and then I move on with my life. Right. So try that. So if you're struggling closing and struggling getting people on the phone to come pick up the next day, try saying that and go, hey, look, tomorrow, here's what we're going to do. And I'll pull up all the prices. And I'm going to show you everything. And at the end, I'm going to ask you to pick one. And if there's one that you like, I'll be the guy to help you or gal to help you. If not, you can just tell me to kick rocks, man. I will not be offended. Does that sound fair enough?
Fair enough. Couple of different things. I want to also get to the structure of an agency owner because people are transitioning. But what does an internet script sound like? Just ring, ring. I say hello.
I just did one.
That was internet script. Perfect.
That was the real-time lead script, man.
I love it. Now, if you're dialing age stuff, so let's talk about age 2 month, 3 month. Does it sound any different whatsoever?
No. Okay. So now here's some people go into that and y'all got to stop being so pushy on the phone because these people are getting inundated of phone calls. So here's what I would say. I would approach it more like a supervisor style. Hey, Mac, I'm calling you. The reason I'm calling you is because a while back you filled out a form looking for some information on state radio life insurance programs. I'm showing here that it was never taken care of and either nobody ever got you that quote or they quoted you something that was ridiculous that nobody could afford. So real quick, so I can get your file closed out, could you tell me which one of those, why didn't you get it?
Love it. Too expensive.
So it's more of like hey, kind of what happened kind of a thing.
Got it.
With a laid back approach. And that way people don't feel pressured by you. And you'd be amazed at the amount of people. If you take a laid back approach, they'll be laid back with you rather than them hanging up on you.
I love it. Hey, throw any questions down in the chat, guys. I know it was disabled earlier. Couple more, Matt. The structure of an agency owner. So actually, before I do that one, everyone's dying to know, what did your actual structure, how many appointments look like to help for 90 families a month? How is that possible?
Well, okay. So Stephen Yee. So I said, so Stephen was 76 away from hitting Hall of Fame the year before. And I was 80 something, 88, I think, or something like that away, or 86 away.
Yeah.
And so I called Stephen. So none of this is a secret, y'all. I called somebody who'd already done it. So And I said, hey, how many appointments do I need to run? And how many leads do I need to buy? And how much production do I need to do? And he goes, you just need to double everything that you did. And I was like, all right. So I literally got up. So my schedule was 4 a.m. I'd wake up, I'd go to the gym, I'd work out. I was doing live transfer phone calls by 6 a.m. Okay. At specific time, which means it's 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Right.
And I would take phone calls 10 or 12 per day, appointments per day, until Hawaii closed. So, and Hawaii's what's 3 hours behind us on Pacific time.
Right.
So I would work. I remember closing a 342 per month policy at 11 o'clock at night, and that was the most gratifying thing, dude. I'm telling you, that felt, because it was a rough day that day. Like, just beat up, and I forgot I had live transfers on. Just beat up and done, and then I took the call, and then boom. And then what's crazy, man, is I look back on that month, and I realized it was a combination of all leads that led to that. So I was working mortgage, live, and internet leads. Oh, and clients, everything. And I was making phone calls because I broke it down. Like, it seems overwhelming to do 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, right? It seems overwhelming. But when you break it all the way down per day, it's actually not that big of a deal. And so once I started accomplishing my goal per day, I started to get excited. And once I got excited, the momentum started to really build, and I kept going. And then that first week when I did 27, I was like, oh man, I got a shot, right? Because then it went 27, and then it went 25. And I was like, I really got a shot now. Now it's push time. Now it's really push time. So then I was grabbing, I don't even know how many leads I bought. I spent 22,000. So I was grabbing everything I could. In
December, 22,000 in leads.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep. And see, here's the fun thing though. Like, so I'm going to do that this month, right? So, but what's crazy is some of the leads I bought in December, they're buying now. Like, no, stuff never goes away. And what y'all have to understand, so like, I'm going to do, so I've already done 65 this month, right? So I've already done 65 this month. So, but that was built in December.
Right. The momentum.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's built in most, yeah. So now, okay. So now if I want to accomplish, let's say 100 this month, I only need to knock out another 40.
Right.
See what I mean?
Right.
And none of that's live transfers. So it's all back to normal leads, clients, all those kind of things. Now, so it's just.
Of the 10 to 12 calls you took a day, how many would you close?
My goal was to close 3 a day.
3 a
day. Yeah, because if I could help 3 families a day, 30 days, 90. That was just, so really I only needed to do 10, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I know my number. So like, I know, so if I get 10 mortgage leads, I'm going to close 3, just so y'all know, right? So, and if I get, so the same things, like if I get 10 internet leads, I'm going to close, or if I get 100 internet leads, I'm going to close 10. And if I get 50 Facebook leads, I'm going to close 10. Like, I know the numbers. Okay. Yeah. So if I get 10 mortgage leads, I'm going to close. So now I'm like, okay, so that means I need to book, out of 10 mortgage leads, I'll book 6 appointments, I'll close 3. Boom. Right. So then I'm like, okay, so live transfers. So how many live transfers do I need to take per day to close 3? 10, but I would take 12.
Just in case.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. That's how it works, man. Once you know your numbers, you can't lose.
And some people get kind of jittery when it comes to the cost of leads, right? How did you approach that? And again, after this, we got some questions down there, but how did you approach the cost of leads? Did you shutter? Did you just know it was a 1-to-4 ratio typically? How did that work?
I trust myself. So, and here's the deal. I know that leads, for every dollar I spend on leads, I get 4 times back. Okay. So I was willing to spend what I do. Okay. Think of it like this. Like, would you be willing to spend 40 to make 40?
Yes.
Like that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, copy that.
Like, you see what I mean? Like, if you were to net, so if you would spend, let's say you spent 40 to net 40, would you do it? The answer is yes. Yeah. Right. So, because your marketing costs, that's normal for a corporation. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So like, your marketing cost here is going to be about 25%. Now, if you're brand new, it's going to be 30. Let's not pretend like it's 20%, because it's not. Your marketing costs, if you're brand new, because you suck, okay, is going to be probably 25 or 30%. That's the amount you should spend on leads. Overdo it on the leads, and then you can pull it back.
Love it. Overdo it in the leads, guys. So a question that someone's asking is, how do you get someone just to get into business? That she gets in the house and they just talk and talk, and she's having trouble. She's booking multiple appointments, but not getting to all of them because they're taking your time.
No,
How
you're
do you
too
do
friendly.
it?
You're too friendly. Okay, let me ask, are you closing?
Yeah. Lacey, are you closing? I guess, yeah. She's closing. She's closing.
Okay. Okay. So I have not enough. Okay. So I have two thoughts on that, Lacey. Okay. If you're friendly and you're closing the people and your persistency is high, don't change. Okay. If you want to get to more, like, just extend your appointments out to 2 hours if you have to. Like, who cares, man? If you're closing people, why change what's working already? You don't need to shorten something. If you're having fun with your clients and you're taking care of them, you're doing your job correctly. Now, if you want to get down to business, start saying this. Mac, I could talk to you for forever, man. I feel like you and I are going to become close friends, right? But do you want the 15-minute version or the 3-hour version?
15-minute.
Well, let's get down to it, man, and then we'll talk after.
I love it.
Just do that.
I love it. Another question from Chris is, let's say you're in a home, you go over there are options, and the client flat out says no. Do you go into it more, ask them why, or do you just pack your stuff?
I'd pack my stuff. Like, okay, so no, like, that's a tough one because I don't know what you're saying, man. So like, what do you want me to? So I've never just had.
It all depends. I mean, how many times do you try to overcome an objection before you leave? I think
That
that's what you're
depends. If it's an I need to think about it, that's an easy one to overcome. If they flat out go, Matt, you know what? I'm just not interested. I'm like, hey man, thank you for being honest with me. Real quick, just real quick. There's only one of two reasons that people are not interested. One, you don't like me, or number two, the price is too much. Which one is it?
Price.
Price. Okay. Did I just show you something that you can't afford? Do you want me to back it down a little bit? Or are you just actually not interested in protecting your family?
Yeah, back it down. Back it down.
So then you back it down. Now, but if I confront you and I go, man, are you actually just not interested in protecting your family? And he goes, no. I'm like, dude, I'm packing my shit and I'm leaving. But if I've got 30 appointments, I can say stuff. I can say whatever I want. If you've got 5 appointments, you're begging for that sell. That's a different, see what I'm saying? It's a different conversation. Like, it's the same concept of everyone tries to overcome these objections on the phone. And I'm like, why? Like, if you have enough leads, then you who cares, man? Move on to the next person.
Next.
Now, if it's a mortgage lead and I spend $1 gazillion on it, that's a different conversation. If it's an internet lead and I spent $3 on a lead and y'all are arguing with this person over $3, you are losing your mind and you're destroying yourself. Just move on.
Move on. I love it. What's your favorite lead type?
All of them. But mortgage is my baby, right? But I grew up in the mortgage world. So meaning my whole insurance industry career has been mortgage protection leads. The internet and the Facebook leads have really come out in the last couple of years. So now if I was starting all over again, it'd be Facebook and internet, y'all, because the direct mail mortgage leads are going bye-bye. True. And they're $1 gazillion now.
I love it. Guys, any more questions? Go ahead and pop it in the comments. And Matt, if you could just share while anyone wraps up any comments, the importance of going to this conference in Miami. You know, if you're new, you haven't even sold a policy, maybe you're struggling, why go?
I think the biggest thing is they need to get, number one is you need to get out of your association. If the people you hang around has got you where you're at now, start moving on with your life. Okay. If you're not happy with it, start going to the people who are actually seeing success in the industry and listen to what they have to say. Don't listen to what anyone else has to say. Also, when you go to conference, don't hang out with the person that's in the hallway, because that person who's telling you how to sell life insurance, who sells like 5 families a month, they don't know how to sell life insurance. The person who's successful is the one sitting in the front row. That's the one you need to go talk to, just so you all know. So if you want to start being successful, start hanging around the people that are successful in the industry.
How do you suggest a new agent or anyone going to this conference first time get the most out of it? What should they be doing, looking for?
Well, okay. So number one, if you want to look for the people who have the rings on, because they'll be the Hall of Fame producers, just so you all know, right? You also want to look for, I call them the red coats. Okay. So
Mhm.
those are the ones who are wearing the red coats because they've got the Hall of Fame going on, which I think the Hall of Fame people should be wearing their coats during
True.
conference,
That's true. I agree.
or some kind of badge or something that you can recognize them. That way you know who to talk to,
Right.
right? So you want to try, okay, and you also don't want to try to take in everything because it's too much. You want to pick something that you can implement in your business and take it back and let it be effective for you. Whether that be a lead vendor, whether that be a script, whether that be an association that you picked up, a running buddy, a presentation tip, whatever it might be, pick something. Don't take an iPad and type. Take a notebook and write down.
Love
Okay.
it.
Because there's going to be so much information thrown at you. It's like drinking from a fire hose. So just pick one or two things, just one or two, and implement them in your business right away. That's what I would do. And enjoy the atmosphere because it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy. Matt, thank you so much. You've been great pouring into us. I appreciate you. And this is the kind of caliber of people we have at Family First Life. They just kind of pour into us. So appreciate you guys being on. Hey, if you thought this was good, next week, we're going to have another top speaker, Erica Haynes, single mom, building a massive agency. How did she do it? And hey, bring some questions. And if you have anyone that's a single mom, this would be a place that you want to get them. So till that, we'll see you next week, guys. See you at the top.